The U.S. Supreme Court overturned its own 2003 decision in Grutter versus Bollinger. It hasn't been more than 20 years, exactly 20 years, and they completely overruled their prior decision from 20 years earlier. And what did they overrule? They overruled that affirmative action in college admissions is legal and now bars all universities from considering race in admission decisions. The court ruled that affirmative action programs at the University of North Carolina and Harvard University violate the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution and are therefore unlawful. The vote was 6-3 in the UNC case and 6-2 in the Harvard case, in which liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was recused. Now, it was basically liberals on one side and the conservatives that Donald Trump put into place on the other side. The decision was hailed by prominent conservatives who say the Constitution should be colorblind. Donald Trump called it a great day for America. Liberals, however, condemned the ruling, saying affirmative action is a key tool for remedying historic race discrimination. Michelle Obama, the first Black First Lady, said it wasn't perfect, but there's no doubt that it helped offer new ladders of opportunity for those who, throughout our history, have too often been denied a chance to show how fast they can climb. President Joe Biden called the decision a severe disappointment, adding that his administration would provide guidance about how colleges could maintain diversity without violating the new U.S. Supreme Court ruling. The court effectively overturned a 2003 ruling in Grutter versus Bollinger. That ruling said 20 years ago, it wasn't like 150 years ago, this is 20 years ago, in which it said race could be considered as a factor in the admissions process because universities had a compelling interest in maintaining a diverse campus. In doing so, the court scrapped decades of precedent, including a ruling dating to 1978 that upheld a limited consideration of race in university admissions to combat historic discrimination against Black people and other minority groups. When I first went to law school, one of the first things we learned in law school was the theory of stare decisis, that precedent matters, that once a decision has been made by a judge, that is the decision for eternity. You don't have to keep going back and arguing the same thing over and over again. And here we are 20 years after a Supreme Court, previous generation of a Supreme Court 20 years ago, said that affirmative action has a role in our society to maintain a diverse campus. They say, nope, it's illegal. Murad Awawdeh, executive director of the New York Immigration Coalition, wrote in a statement, denying colleges the right to create intentionally diverse student bodies will be a detriment not only to the students who will be denied a real opportunity to enroll at their colleges of choice, but also to the many students who will lose out on the shared experience of navigating cultural and racial differences in an increasingly connected world. The ultimate impact of today's decision won't just hurt students of color, but will also reverberate with disastrous consequences throughout our entire society. It's going to hurt everybody, because part of going to school is learning to deal with the world. And the world is not one color, and the world is not one religion, but the world is multiple religions and multiple colors and multiple people from different backgrounds and cultures. And it's a learning experience to be able to learn from each other and also deal with each other. And we're going to lose that here in the United States, my opinion. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.